Hey, welcome back to my channel. It's me, SB. I am so glad that you are back. So as you saw in the thumbnail and in the title, we are going to be making this cute little baby hat. I have a few measurements for you just in case before we get started. So the measurements of this hat is around 6 inches. It's 6¼ inches wide and 7½ inches long, just to give you an idea. It is really stretchy, and it is made on the Sentro 48 pin knitting machine. So yeah, we can definitely accomplish baby hats on it. Now, a few little things that I learned along the way was the seaming on here. Now, I did crochet the seam. I started out whip stitching, but I was getting impatient, so I started crocheting it, and the seam is really thick. So I suggest that you just whip stitch the whole thing and, you know, have that little tiny seam that you won't be able to see. So anyways, let's go ahead and get into the tutorial. We are going to work in panel mode in order to make this on our 48 pin Sentro. And I'm using Big Twist Value yarn in the color dark coral. And there is all the information. Hopefully you can see it. So in order to start this hat, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark where I'm going to stop, because we are going to just be working on 40 pegs. And as you know, these 3 stitches here, or pegs, you know, they don't get knitted when you're working in panel mode. So we're going to start here at this peg, which is peg number 3. So we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 9, 40. So this is going to be our last stitch. So we're going to go 1 beyond. So we're going to put our elastic on this hook here. So here's where we want to have our last stitch. We have to work 1 beyond and then turn. So I'm going to put my elastic here. And if you have smaller ones, they'll actually work a lot better because you don't have to twist them. There we go. So now that we have that marked, we are going to start here at our 3rd peg, and I'm going to use some waste yarn for this to make it a little easier. And we're just going to cast on regularly until we reach our 40th peg. Remember, you have to work 1 beyond your last, so that way it goes underneath, just like that. And now I'm going to work back, and this is going to be our first row. And I'm just going to work 10 rows with this yarn. Okay, so I have around 6 to 10 rounds or rows. I did not count. Another thing to note when working in panel mode, that you are going to have to manually keep count. I do use a counter on my phone, and it is called Minimalist Crochet Stitch Counter, but of course it is just a stitch counter, so, but just in case if you're interested in it. So now I'm going to go ahead and attach my actual working yarn. I'm just going to leave a decent tail because I want to be able to use this to sew it up. And now we're just going to continue on working as normal, and this is going to be row 1. And I'm going to knit around 75 to 80 rows. tidbit for you, just in case this is one of your first Sentro videos that you are watching. To keep your ends on a flat panel pretty neat looking, as you can see here, all you have to do is when you are going back and it hooks into your first or last stitch, just give your working yarn a little tug and it'll tighten up your ends and it'll make it look nice and neat. So I'll show you again whenever we go back around to the other side. So make sure it goes underneath that hook, and then once it comes back around and it drops into your stitch, give it a tug and it'll tighten it up. And we are just gonna work back. Okay, so I just completed my 75th row, and now we are actually gonna start working back, and I'm actually going to cut my waste yarn at the beginning because I forgot to do that earlier. So with our waste yarn, we are going to work about 5 to 10 rows with it, and then we're just gonna take it off of our machine. And let me go ahead and remove it before we put that in there. And what I'm going to do is I'm gonna leave a decent sized tail on this side as well. It's just better safe than sorry, you know? Okay. I'm just gonna pop this in here. And I almost forgot to add it. That would have been great, right? That would have been lovely. Alright, there we go. Okay. Okay, that was my 10th row complete. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove my yarn here. And I'm just gonna put it in the middle, and we're just gonna pop off our work off of our machine. So in order to do that, we're just gonna knit the other way. Make sure that last one goes all the way down, and we're gonna go back around, and our work is just gonna fall off. It should, in theory. And there we go. Okay, got everything settled finally. That's the only thing when working with waste yarn, you have a lot of tail threads everywhere. So just for reference, it is really hard to get an accurate measurement with this because it is so curly. But it is, let's see, it's about 12 inches wide. It might actually be a little bigger. It's just really, really hard to tell. But this is 40 pegs or 40 pins that we used. So this is where your long tail that you left at the beginning is going to come out come very handy. And I'm just going to use my metal tapestry needle because it just glides a lot better than the plastic ones that it comes with. So with our right sides together, we are simply going to seam up this end, and you can use any type of method that you would like. I am just going to simply whip stitch around my ends here, and since we kept them relatively neat, it should be easy to identify. So this is going to take a little bit of time, but I think it's worth it because I don't have to go out and buy a new machine just to make baby hats or children's hats. So yeah, I got a little impatient, like I said earlier, and I busted out my crochet hook and started doing it, and I had to attach more yarn because I didn't leave a long enough tail, but yeah, that's what happens whenever you get impatient. Okay, so once you complete that, you can go ahead and just fasten off your yarn or whatever, however you attached everything. And there we go. Now we've got a nice tube, and now we are going to sew these ends together. Just like this, so we can make a little hat. Okay, now we've got our hat put together. So now we're just going to match up our seams, and where you attached, you can just trim that a little shorter and then just tuck it in. And we left a nice long tail at the end. And now we are going to use our needle here, and we're going to start by finding our stitches here. So now I'm going to start working back, and good thing with our waste yarn on here that we can very easily identify where our stitches are. And we just got to be real mindful of not dropping any stitches. So I'm going to work from the top here on how I have my hat oriented, and I just want to make sure that I'm not splitting any yarn. So try not to pull your thread too tight while you're doing this, because we want to make a flat seam at the top. Alright, so we got all of this seamed up the way we want it. Now we can remove our waste yarn. And to do that, I'm just going to simply unravel this and re-roll up my yarn so I can use it again for a future project. Alright, one down, one to go. So yeah, just stay patient and, you know, try not to move too fast. I'm actually going to unpick it from right here where we ended, and we're just going to move all the way around. That last one was a little easier simply because, you know, that was the ending, and this is the beginning. Then it gets all... I wonder if I could just pull one of these. This side. Let's find out. Oh yes, awesome. There we go. That was quicker. Now I just have a couple to pull out here. Make sure I find it. There we go. Where is the end? Is this it? Yeah, there it is. And I want to make sure that it's not going to get knotted in here. Nope, it's not. Good. All right. Ah, we did it. So I'll deal with that here in a minute. So now we've got our little tiny baby hat now. So as for the seam, you can put it on the side or you can put it towards the back. That is completely up to you. So now, at this point, you can cinch it up or you can go through and sew around like that to make it a flat hat, which is what I am going to do. So now I am just going to simply sew across the top of my work and just whip stitch quickly across here. Okay, real quick, I wanted to show a close-up of this. Now, since we seamed our 2 layers together, you're going to have 2 stitches in the front and 2 stitches in the back. Be sure that you are going through those 2 or those 4 stitches rather. Okay, so now we have our little hat complete. Look at that. So now if we flip it the other way, now we should have it nice and cutesy. And the seam is on the side, so it's not real noticeable. It is a little curly because I probably did it a little too tight. And there it is. Oh, how cute. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in between my 2 layers right here. And I'm just going to go down in between my layers. You can't see it, but the needle is actually in between my layers. And I'm going to go maybe, let's see, how far down? About 1.5 inches down, but I'm gonna go to the edge here. And now, after all that, we are gonna seam up right here, and I'm just gonna do kind of like a back stitch right along here, just to reinforce that. And I'm going through all of my layers here. And then we're going to do the same thing on this side. Okay, there's our little hat there, you see? Oh, so cute. Alright, so now we're going to add a little extra. So I have a pale pink yarn here that I'm going to use. I'm just going to cut a few here. A few inches of pink here. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to add a little design in the ear here with this pale pink, and we're just going to add like stitch lines here, but we're only going to go through one side. Okay, so now at this point you can go ahead and call it good and be like, I am done with this little cute hat, or you can add a little nose and some whiskers if you'd like. I actually quite like the way this looks, and I never really understood why you would put nose and a whiskers on a hat. It's sitting on your head, not on your face. But anyways, that is besides the point. You could definitely go ahead and add whiskers and a nose to your little baby hat. And here are some measurements just in case you did not catch them at the beginning of the video. We are here at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and a quarter inches wide. And it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and about around 7.5 inches tall. So that, I think that is perfect for a baby hat. That seam might give you a little trouble because mine did get a little big, but I think that was my fault. I went around, you know, too many stitches whenever I was crocheting around it, and you can really see it on this side. As you can see, oh. Okay, I am definitely going to have to play around with the seaming of this, especially on the side. As you can see where I crocheted around it, right in here. Because I did the majority of it with crochet. I think if I would have done a whip stitch or something like that, that seam would be less visible. So let me know what you think about this project. Are you going to make something similar, or was this just something that you decided to watch? Let me know in the comments down below, and yeah, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and stay crafty, and I'll catch you on the next video. Bye!